Another forest fire in Lassen Park. Sucks, man. They just about had the Delta fire out, and then a 15 or 20 acre and then another 3 acre spot fire flared up, and the winds picked up and caught that one. Now there's another one on the east side and around Lassen National Park, which is only about 35 miles from where I'm at right now. I don't know if you can hear the engines going by, but they're heading up that way now too. Got a couple of requests to do a write-up or a different vlog on my bunk bed setup, and so I just figured I'd do this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and get some measurements. So in case any of you have this type of dinette setup and you want to convert into a bunk bed, it's really easy to do, and you can modify it to fit your particular slide out, or if you don't have a slide out, if you just have a regular dinette within your camper or motorhome or travel trailer even, this will work on that as well. You might need to do just some slight modification to it, changing a few different things as far as the way that the brackets are set up, but this is how mine is done, and this is how a lot of the slide outs and maybe some Lance campers, the Fleetwood campers like I have, and even some of the Bigfoots will work this way. Even though some of the Bigfoots have the arched backrest, it'll still work this way. So I'm going to go ahead and get some measurements. I'll also write it out on paper and put it in the description below. You guys can take a look at that. And if you have any questions on the bunk bed setup, just shoot me an email at covet.the.camper@gmail.com. Or just leave me a comment in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. So let me go ahead and get this measured out and show you how I built it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just first of all measure out the width of my slide out, and then show you how I mounted the brackets to the window frame. So my slide out width is 71.5 inches. So I'll give you a little bit of a view, better view of how it's put together. So this is 3/4 inch plywood for the deck, and then 3/4 inch, I used cherry, solid cherry, just for the framework around the deck part. The deck is in two sections just so it's really easy to store. When we have it down, when we're using the dinette, we store the bunk bed parts up in the cab over area. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and take apart the bunk bed like I would normally put it away after use. And first thing I do is this little guardrail. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. This little guardrail. And I'll have the measurements of how I built this as well, just real simple. Take that off. We take the mattress and slide it up into the cab over area, and then undo these little screws, these little bolts that go through into the T-nuts, which I'll show. That's what secures everything. I'll show you here what I'm doing. I'm just taking those out, and those go through to where there's a steel T-nut. Just taking that out. I just store those bolts on top of the hood, just using a little magnet, one of those neodymium magnets, and then that way these things don't go flying around, if it happens to be off. It's exactly 81 inches. and I went 4.5 inches high for the side piece. And this first section is 24 inches. The second section back here is 18 inches for the 2 pieces. So now that I've got those 2 screw bolts out, this can just lift off, and then we just put it up in the cab over area. And you can see how I've framed this in to strengthen it on the bottom. I've done that on both sides here, on the main deck and then this secondary deck that goes toward the back. So there's another little frame piece on the bottom just to add some strength to this plywood. And this is 3/4 inch birch plywood. And again, I'll have all the dimensions written up on a little sheet that I'll put at the end of this video. So yeah, 3/4 inch plywood, and then this piece here is 18 inches deep by 71 inches wide. And the reason why this is narrower than this front piece is it has to set inside the slide out. So how I made this sit up here and how it's sturdy enough to support weight, let me remove this, get it up here, out of the way. Side braces go, I out of 3/4 inch cherry, I cut this pattern out around the the window cutout, just so we can still see out. If you wanted to, you could just go straight across, but I just got my jigsaw out and cut that, and then did a nice round over and smoothed it out. But this is where that back piece sits. This is the sleeping platform for my youngest daughter, the Dinette platform, and then we went 19.25 inches. 19.25 inches off of the top of this. So again, this is going to be probably different for a lot of your camper setup, but on mine, because this is a slide out, I went up 38.75 inches from the floor of the slide out. So that's where the top of this platform sits. So, and that continues on, all the way out through here. I bolted through the existing dinette seat back, and did T-nuts and machine screws in 3 different places. So this thing is super solid. It'll support probably 300 pounds. So more than enough. I'm going to go ahead and get all the measurements of the front platform, the rear platform, the side bolsters, and then this rear side bolster with the cutout around the window frame. Okay, so the last piece is this guy here, and this is just probably an optional thing for some people, but I wanted to have it on there. When I actually built this bunk bed, my oldest daughter was a little bit smaller than she is now. But I wanted to have this little guardrail on there. You can see I just got a piece of 3/4 inch cherry, and I didn't go too big, just a couple of feet. This one's 26 inches, and for the height I went just for this piece here, 5.25 inches. And then I just did some brace pieces on each side, and screwed them and glued them so it's nice and strong. And then this just slips, because you've got just enough gap for a 3/4 inch piece of wood, just slips right over the top of that framework. So on the bunk bed itself, it just slips right over the top, and it stays secure, stays in place. So you can make this any size you want. If you want to make it smaller, or do 2 pieces, or whatever, that's up to you. But I figured this was probably enough to keep her in the bed if she happened to roll over or something. So it seems to be working pretty good. She hasn't fallen out yet. I'll give you a shot of how I did this and how it's installed. These are the T-nut locations here. So there's one there, and there's one on the inside on this one. And then the hole drilled here for those little thumb bolts, and then that's a T-nut on the bottom side, and that's a 3/8 inch bolt. And if you can see, I can adjust the exposure here. Maybe you can see it better this way. This piece I bolted on to the framework around the slide out, so that's just screwed in several locations all the way down. And I cut it to fit. You could just do, you know, one piece and then bring it up. It doesn't have to, you know, fit so snug. And then just screw it into that. And then you can see the top piece, this top rear platform sits right on top of those window bolsters, and stays in place once this other front piece is bolted down. Doesn't move around or anything. And of course your blinds and your window cranks are still accessible. I can grab the window crank is right there. You can grab it from the bottom side or the top side. So I just wanted to make sure that the windows would still function, open and close with the bunk bed in place. So that on this side I did it that way, and I kind of did the same way on this side. It's obviously really tight because it's up against the cab over. There, you can kind of see all the way down how I bolted it into the framework around the cab over, or sorry, around the slide out, and then did the same thing on this piece. It's bolted onto the back side of the dinette. So there's T-nuts on this one, and back inside here there's T-nuts right there, and it must be on this side. Yeah, right there. So right here there's a T-nut, and right there there's a screw holding it in place. So it's super strong. And yeah, I show this in my other video, but this is the these are the brackets for the ladder, and they just screw right into the side of the framing on the outside platform. And then the ladder itself we store on the inside of the bathroom door right there. And it's got little notches on the top of the ladder that fit right in the brackets. There. So it's good and secure. And underneath here, I just wanted to show you real quick. You don't have to do this, is obviously optional, but I just hung some curtains here with some Velcro tabs. These were the original curtains that were in this coach before we replaced them with the mini blinds. And I just put them up in here because you can just Velcro them up and then tuck these curtains into that little gap, and they've got privacy, or you know, it's when it's bunged up like that, it cuts out a lot of the light, so you don't have to worry so much about you know, light coming in and waking you up too early. All right, so I'm just gonna basically define all the parts here, starting with the inner platform, framework, which is all this framing around, the outer platform framing all the way around. So this is the dinette bolster front, dinette bolster top, dinette bolster back, and then these are the bottom platform braces. And then these pieces are the window frame braces. This is just the guardrail. And then these are the fasteners. These are the T-nuts. You can see how it goes through the bottom of the platform. It screws into the T-nut. These are the T-nuts that secure the dinette bolster to the dinette seat back. And you can see how the T-nuts and the bolts go all the way through. So this one on the bottom, this one on the top goes to this one on the top. That's the T-nut for the top, and that's the T-nut for the bottom. And sort of did the same thing on this side, but since I've got this compartment real close here and that little step to get up into the cab over, I did one on the top there and then one on the inside. Well, you're probably not going to be able to see it. See if I can get some light on in here. Yeah, maybe you can see it right there. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Comment below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss anything in the future. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.